What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to CT Dingo. Today we have a video regarding my team, the Manly Warringah Seagulls. I'm going to be talking about the team for 2021 and if they can beat top teams come finals and I guess eventually win the grand final in 2021. Now we'll talk about their games against the top sides this year, teams like the Storm, the Panthers, the Rabbitohs. We'll start off, I guess, with the Melbourne Storm. Manly proved that they can beat the Storm. We saw them in that game level it at half-time, very late in that half, but they were down that whole half. I mean, the Storm were just flying at them. It was, I think it was fairly impressive that they kept them to 8 points in that half, and then Manly did take the lead early into the second half. Unfortunately, an error and lots of errors in that game did cost them, but I think if they limited their errors in that game, they could have won that game. So they definitely proved that they can beat teams like the Storm. We move on to Penrith back in round 8. Now, this was the early days of Manly finding their form, definitely with Tom Trbojevic. Penrith got the win by 12 points. Now, at that time, Manly had scored the most points against Penrith out of any other team. And I think that led on until round 13, I believe, and the West Tigers beat them 26-6. But again, in that game, look, at no point were they ever, I guess, going to win that game. They didn't really look like winning that game, but they definitely put up a fight against the Panthers. Now, my bias might come through here, but look, at the moment, Penrith aren't as solid at the time making this. They're not as solid, obviously, with Nathan Cleary out, and Origin really affected the Panthers this year. And I guess it's going to be hard for them to pick up form. But we'll get, but this is not about the Panthers, it's about Manly. I think Manly could beat the Panthers at this time of year. They've shown that their attack is really solid. Now, they played Penrith back in round 4 without Tom Trbojevic. They lost that game by 40 points. It was a 46-6 smashing by the Panthers. And then they played the Rabbitohs back in round 2 again without Tom Trbojevic. Lost that game by 14. I thought Manly played okay in that game. That was probably their best game from rounds 1 to 4. Look, they still lost 13 plus. It was a bad period for Manly, I can't lie. But this all comes down to Tom Trbojevic. I'm sure that's the obvious point. It all comes down to Tommy Turbo and if he can stay fit. At the moment, well, this season, I'm very glad he's been able to play much more footy than, I guess, previous seasons. So that's really good for Tom. I'm happy that he's been able to play footy because obviously he loves the game and whatnot. But look, at the moment, I'm gonna say no. I just don't know at the moment. Not this year. I think if they can get to a better start, say next year, and Tommy can stay fit, then Manly could definitely make the top 4 in a pretty comfy spot and definitely win the comp. But look, it's definitely going to take a bit of time for these young players as well to really find their way in the game. You're seeing players like Homole Olakau'atu, who's had a really good year this season. Obviously, he's scored a couple of tries and he's been a bit of a weapon for the Seagulls. Taniela Paseka as well has had a brilliant season. You saw him against the Gold Coast Titans just sprint up the field off the kickoff and then kicked it back in for Dylan Walker. So that's a good moment. I think these young players working off Tom Trbojevic are definitely gonna give them the confidence that they need to really grow into better players for Manly. So I think in years to come, it's definitely possible. We saw the Seagulls beat the Eels 56-10. Now, that game, I think Manly looked very good in attack. Obviously, the Eels, though, I mean, come on, the Eels' defense in that game was just poor. Like, I would love to just go, we were just too good for them in that. Well, we were just too good for them, but the Eels' defense, it was just, they all looked lost. But again, it's about Manly, not the Parramatta Eels. We can get to the Eels in another episode, but I mean, yeah, I don't know about the Seagulls at the moment. If Tom can stay fit this season, I think they can get close. I reckon a preliminary final at best, though, for Manly. I just don't know if they can go all the way. I would, as a Manly fan, love to see them go all the way. But look, Tom, if he can stay fit for next year, I think that's very possible that they win the comp. It's possible that they win it this year. They need to just learn to limit those errors, and they can compete. Also defensively, I think they need to improve a little bit. But yeah, I think they can match the top sides if they fix that defense and limit errors. Their attack at the moment is one of, if not the best in the competition. So they can match teams in attack. Can they match them in defense? At the moment, no. So I'm going to say they don't win it this year, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe on their day they can knock off the Melbourne Storm or the Panthers come finals, and maybe they get to the end. But that is where I'm going to finish this video. I will answer this question as a no for the Seagulls.